Hey gaming fans, so today I want to talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh cards that used to be good and why they used to be good. So this one goes back, if you used to play Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, or if you're interested in how Yu-Gi-Oh used to be, this is what this is for. So I'm going to talk about the first one being Mystic Tomato. So back in the day, yeah, the recruiters, as they like to call them, were a really useful card. I mean, there was one for each attribute, all the different dark, light, you name it, they all had one. And the great thing about something like Mystic Tomato was that if he died in battle, you get to summon, I don't know, maybe another Mystic Tomato. Pretty much you get to summon a dark monster, always one that is like pretty much the same, 1500 or less, so they could always search out themselves. And then if it got attacked again, you could search out the final one that would be in your deck, and it would just create a wall that if your opponent kept attacking you, you would be able to just keep summoning out a Mystic Tomato. And then at the end, you can end off with something like Sangan, which would let you search out any monster with an attack of 1500 or less. Of course, during the day, we also had Witch of the Black Forest. Depending on what ban list you're looking at, of course, she did get banned for a bit. But this was a popular one if you play GOAT format. And then either one of these would also lead you into something like Nudoria, which has the effect that if it gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, you get to destroy one monster on the field, which was pretty powerful back in the day, especially if you could pull it out through one of these guys. And if you really wanted to, you could pull out Dekochi, the Battle Enchanted Locomotive, which was a flip effect that would allow you to draw one card. Of course, you would bring it out in attack mode, so you'd have to use something like Tsukiyumi or Book of Moon to flip them back down, and then flip them back up to get your one card. For the next card I wanted to talk about what used to be popular, or used to be strong, Injection Fairy Lily. I remember this card being a very scary card. It's only 400 attack, but when it attacks, or is attacked during damage calculation in either player's turn, you can pay 2,000 life points once per battle. This card gains 3,000 attack during that damage calculation. So basically this becomes 3,400 attack, which could often win you games. I mean, if you were facing your opponent and they didn't have a monster on the field, they couldn't stop her. And the cool thing about Injection Lily is she could get around things like Gravity Bind because she was only a level 3. And I even remember when this card first came out, it didn't have this little piece of text here that says once per battle. And so people were pumping her up like several times in a row. So they would pay the 2,000 life points like 3 times, 2, 4, 6, and make her like 9,400 attack. Obviously the rulings came out and changed that, but I do remember people playing it that way and winning tournaments because of it. The next card I want to talk about, which used to be powerful, was Brain Control. This was actually pretty powerful back in its day. I mean, you could steal your opponent's face-up monster and do whatever you want with it. You could attack with it, you could tribute it off, you can, you know, anything under the sun. It only costs you 800 life points. Typically you would tribute it off for a Monarch or whatever, you know, depending on what you're playing, even a Summoned Skull. Now, the thing is, this card got errated and it got changed to say that it only targets now a normal summoned monster, which is very limited now because the chances are your opponents are not going to have a normal summoned monster on their side of the field. Pretty much most monsters are special summoned. So this card went from really good to just really trash. I think it even spent some time on the ban list or on the restricted list anyways. Now I guess it's just not worth its weight in paper. The last card I want to talk about is Jinzo. This was also, much like Injection Fairy Lily, was a pretty scary card. Back in the day, you used to play cards like Dimensional Prisons, Mirror Force, and the dreaded Ring of Destruction. And Jinzo would shut them all down. And especially when he came out, not a lot of people were playing like spot removal cards. You didn't see a lot of people playing things like Fissures and Smashing Grounds, and you know, not everybody had a Raigeki, or you know, maybe they had a dark hole because it was in the structure deck. I believe it was in a structure deck, but you know, a lot of people didn't have a lot of spot removal. So when Jinzo hit the field, he was a terror to be reckoned with. And there was even a good combo with Call It a Haunted, in that if Call It a Haunted brought back Jinzo, he would start negating the Call It a Haunted. So even if they MST'd this after he was summoned, not during the chain, you know, if they activate it and target Jinzo and then they chained and then MST'd this, nothing would happen. It would go to the grave. He would stay where he was. But once he's on the field, he's no longer affected by Call It a Haunted because he's now negating the effects. So if that got destroyed or bounced back to your hand or whatever, Jinzo would stick around. But he was also a powerhouse, being at 2400 attack. You know, back in those days, that was pretty scary. You know, for a single tribute monster, Jinzo was pretty strong, pretty powerful. You can even say even the Monarchs were all 2400 attack. But he had this continuous effect that just sat there, negating all your opponent's traps. And oftentimes that was the method of what you would use to get rid of your opponent's monsters. And when you lost that, you were kind of stuck. So unless you were playing things like Fairy Lily or Nudoria, it was hard to get rid of this guy. I mean, today, obviously, things have changed. He's not so powerful anymore. He's got some support. There's like an Xyz monster. There's Jinzo Ejector. There's like a few Jinzo-esque cards out there. But he's still nothing to today's world. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to share some of the cards that used to be powerful in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh's been changing. I started playing since the beginning, pretty much the beginning of the game. And, you know, I still love the old cards, and I still love to build the old decks and play things like GOAT format and Edison and all that. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that. Let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. Hope you subscribe. We'll talk to you later.